Hare Krishna, everyone. And particularly to Dhananjay. Hare Krishna. Oh, nice to see you. Very good. And how is everyone? Are you okay? Okay? Good enough? Carrying on? All right. Let me just mention that today, thank you very much. But let me just mention that today is the birthday of His Grace Yamaraj Das. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you what his age is, but it's approximately 36. But tomorrow is the birthday of His Grace Vrndavan Prabhu. We're celebrating today though, are we? Oh, I shouldn't have mentioned that. And tomorrow you'll be 25, yeah? 21. Okay. Good. And the other day, was it? I don't know, Saturday was it? Was somebody's birthday? I mean, amongst the devotees, I forget. But anyway, we had these two.
Shania, my cousin's...
Oh, okay, yes. We observed we had a cake. What's her name? Shania was, 7, was she? 7. Anyway, devotees and friends, today, well, the last few days, except for yesterday actually, from Monday, we've been doing a seminar on the 6 Goswamis of Vrndavan. Very, very great devotees and associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most recent incarnation of Lord Krishna, and just very amazing and wonderful people, very amazing and wonderful devotees. So Monday we started, and we went Monday to Friday, that's 5 days, but there's 6 of them. So today is the last day actually. We will talk some things about the 6 Goswamis, because there's a lot more information about Sanatan Goswami. We did 2 days about him. And so we have 2 left. 2 of the 6 Goswamis left. Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami and Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So today we're going to focus on them. Basically means some different events and different activities, different events in their lives and different things they did like that. Yes, and their association with Lord Chaitanya, because they're really special devotees. We begin, when we do these types of programs, focusing on the 6 Goswamis or some things which they have written, we usually recite one verse written by Srinivas Acharya in his Shad Goswami ISKCON. So I'm going to recite that verse right now. It's part of a whole song with It's an ISKCON, so at least 8 verses, but I think there's 9 verses. But we'll just read this one, and we'll do it responsively. I'll recite one line, then you all can respond, repeat that line if you know it. And it's really a good thing to exercise the memory. If you're not really familiar with it, try and listen to it and see if you can repeat it. If not, don't worry. Right, so here we go. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipano Sadharma Samstapako.
Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipano Sadharma Samstapako.
Lokanam hitakarino tribhuvane manyo sharanya karo.
Lokanam hitakarino tribhuvane manyo sharanya karo.
Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mataliko.
Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mataliko.
Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Sri Jiva Gopalako.
Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Shri Jiva Gopalako.
Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Shri Jiva Gopalako. Yes, so the translation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the 6 Goswamis, namely Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they are honored all over the 3 worlds, and they're worth taking shelter of, because they're absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. Yes, so just a few points by way of background about the 6 Goswamis. These very special devotees, Sanatan Rupa, Raghunath Bhatta, Raghunath Das, Jiva and Gopal Bhatta Goswamis. They were, or are, very, very close associates of Lord Chaitanya, who, of course, is the most recent incarnation of Lord Krishna. From some, 1486 he appeared according to our Western calendar, so he is what? That was what? Whatever it was, 550 years ago, something along those lines. Most recent incarnation of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna being the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Lord Chaitanya Of course, there are many incarnations, expansions, and like that, of Lord Krishna. And they are on different levels. They're on different levels. Some are considered more or less like full expansions. Some are partial expansions of Lord Krishna. And some are actually parts of parts. So there's a whole hierarchy amongst those different forms of Lord Krishna. But he, Lord Krishna, is the original. The example is given in Brahma Samhita of if you have a whole lot of candles, but only one of them is lit, but all the others are there, and then you light all those other candles from the one which is lit, then when you've lit all of them, then you may well not be able to tell which was the first one or the second one or anything like that, because they're basically burning. But still the fact is there that one of them was the original one. And if it wasn't for that original one, the others would not be or would not be burning. So like that, even though they're forms of the Lord, the Supreme Lord, so they're great, they're very great, extremely great, but still they're dependent on Lord Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyway, without getting too much into sort of, it can get quite technical, different forms of the Lord and what their functions are and what their capacities are and so on compared to Lord Krishna. But when we come to Lord Chaitanya, then he is not exactly an expansion or an incarnation, or the Sanskrit term avatar is used. He is actually Krishna himself, directly, but appearing in a very special form. And that form is a combined form of Krishna and Srimati Radharani, who is Lord Krishna's consort or pleasure potency. Pleasure potency means the capacity of the Supreme Lord to enjoy pleasure. He has all capacities unlimitedly. He has the capacity for all pleasure also. So, yes. So that's Srimati Radharani is the pleasure potency. He has placed his full capacity to enjoy pleasure external to himself, apparently as another person, as we're all here, and we're all separate individuals. So the two of them, they seem to be separate individuals, but they're not exactly that. They're two parts of one. I wonder, Dharma Prabhu, could you please ask whoever is giving us a running commentary down there, they just keep it down a bit. Thank you. So anyway, yeah. So they are one in two, if you get the idea. The Supreme Personality of Godhead and his pleasure potency in two forms, separate like separate individuals, but they're two parts of one. And indeed, there was one time Srila Prabhupada in a situation something like this, a gathering of devotees and practitioners of Krishna consciousness who pretty much all of them were quite familiar with what is Krishna consciousness and who's who in Krishna consciousness and how it all works. Srila Prabhupada asked a question which you might think is, I mean, you would think it's a very strange question to ask people like that. It's sort of like asking people like mathematicians, what's 2 plus 2? For mathematicians, it's, what are you doing asking them that? There's no need, it makes no sense. So Prabhupada asked, who is God? Devotees' hands went up. Krishna! Prabhupada said, no. What do you think of that? Krishna is not God. And then Prabhupada said, Radha Krishna is God. Yes. Yes, because Krishna is complete with Radharani. So now Lord Chaitanya is the two of them combined together. There's a verse, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya, which means that Lord Chaitanya is Nahe Anya, none other than the combined form of Radha Krishna. Yes, right. So Lord Chaitanya came some 500 odd years ago in West Bengal and established the Krishna consciousness movement, particularly the Krishna consciousness movement based on the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, particularly the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And when he came, as happens whenever the Lord, or generally when the Lord appears, many of his associates from the spiritual world came with him. So the 6 Goswamis were like the closest associates, or if not exactly the closest, because there were a couple of others who were really very close, like Swarup Damodar Goswami. But they were very, very close as associates of Lord Chaitanya, of the Supreme Lord, who had descended with him to this world. This is what the term avatar means. I know I've heard a couple of movies called Avatar, or something like that, right? Which I'm happy to report I did not watch. I'm not a movie watcher, actually. Yeah. And apparently, I don't know the details, but apparently they had some sort of idea. Well, in fact, I don't think I'd be able to really express it very clearly, but people, what do they do? Who saw those movies? Oh, you did? But what was the avatar idea there? That they expanded out into other forms, was it?
Well, basically, avatar, there were a species of people, and the humans created replicas which the human beings could enter into, the consciousness could enter into.
Did he get it right? Basically. But anyway, actually, in fact, the term avatar literally It's a long-standing Sanskrit term. It's not just a recently coined term. This word avatar and what it means has been there for thousands of years. Basically, in simple terms, it means one who descends from the spiritual realm to this realm. You could say, and some people do say, that we were also in the spiritual realm, and now we've come down here. So we've descended. So maybe we're avatars. But it's not exactly. See, Krishna comes and, like Lord Chaitanya and Lord Ram, etc., they descend very nicely. We fell, falling, like if you're coming downstairs. I don't know if any of you fallen downstairs when you were children or any time. It's not a lot of fun. Yeah, as opposed to just nicely coming down the stairs. So the Supreme Lord comes down very nicely into this world, whereas we have fallen and just sort of landed here, not knowing where we are or how we got here or what we're doing or what we're meant to do. Now we're here. That's us. So, Lord Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahe Anya. Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya is none other than the combined form of Radha and Krishna. The two, who are actually one in two, have again become one. Yeah, and the 6 Goswamis and various others, I mentioned Swarup Damodar Goswami, he's another one. They descended with the Lord to participate in his pastimes. So particularly the 6 Goswamis, they're in male forms. They're in male forms, but in the pastimes of Lord Krishna himself, in those pastimes of Lord Krishna himself, in Goloka Vrndavan, they are actually, would you believe, devotees and friends, they are in female forms. The leader of the 6 Goswamis basically is Rupa Goswami. So he's Rupa Goswami in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. In the pastimes of Lord Krishna, he is Rupa Manjari. Yeah, female form. Who Shri Panchatattva Ki Jaya. Yes, right. Right, yes. So they descended from being in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world. In female forms, they came down and but they came down in male forms. Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, and Guna Manjari, and others. The 6 of them. Now a person might think, well, that's strange. They were female, now they're male. This sounds strange. But actually, if we just consider how we, for example, have been living in this material world from lifetime to lifetime, it's not so strange that in a certain situation, a particular person is in a female form, in a different situation, the same person is in a male form. It's not that strange at all. We have all been in all species. We've been in both or all genders. And even Prabhupada explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, the later chapters of the 4th canto is the story of a person, a king, called Puranjan. And Puranjan, well, he was a king, he was male, but he had his wife as queen, and he was just extremely attached to her, to sort of the exclusion of anything or anyone else. He was just completely enraptured to the extreme with his wife. He was basically in what you might call wife consciousness. It's all he really thought about. So in Bhagavad Gita, of course, Lord Krishna explains that whatever state of being one remembers at the end of this life, then one attains to that state in the next life, and Krishna says, without fail. And it's all based on what state of mind you're in, or what you remember, what you're thinking of. And it's not just, you could decide, I'm going to die in 30 seconds, look at that. I better think of something. Let's just say Krishna. And okay, right, now I think about Krishna, and there we go. No, what a person's going to think of at the end of their life is basically whatever they have been most absorbed in and attached to and attracted to during the whole course of the previous life. So in his case, he was just completely enamored to the nth degree with his wife. So take a guess what sort of body he got in his next life. Take a guess. A woman, he got it. Very good, the birthday boy. He got it. Very good. Yes, so from being King Puranjan, he became Puranjani. It's a bit of a long story, I won't go into the details, but that's how things are described there. And, because there's this strong tendency for males to be particularly interested in females, and females to be particularly interested in males during the course of their lives, just meaning regular people who are walking in the street today, not spiritually minded people, but just ordinary people. Because this tendency is so extremely strong, Prabhupada explains that there is this tendency from one lifetime to another, one body to another. There's a sort of a zigzag, male to female, to male to female, to male to female. This is quite not unusual at all. Even it's kind of like the usual thing, pretty much how things work. So yeah, with Krishna in the spiritual world, the 6 Goswamis, men, are in female forms. Yeah. And they're very, very close to Radha and Krishna. Very intimate servants of Radha and Krishna. And therefore, in their forms, male forms with Lord Chaitanya, the 6 Goswamis, they are just so incredibly knowledgeable about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and the relationship between Radha and Krishna, because they're just so highly experienced in their other forms. So anyway, that's just little background. So the 6 Goswamis, they're very prominent personalities in our line. Yeah, very prominent. And last 5 days we talked about 4 of them. We have 2 left. As it happens, there isn't so much information about the other 2 who we haven't talked about yet. But anyway, of course there are some, so let us say some things about them. First of all, some prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutavede Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastutyate Chaitanya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchka Trivyaschakri Prasindhubhya Evacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Right, so we're going to start with Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Yes, he was, you see, amongst the 6 Goswamis, there are 2 generations, basically, more or less. Rupa and Sanatan and Raghunath Das. They are an older generation, and Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta, who we're going to say a bit about now, and Jiva Goswami, they're a younger generation. In fact, Jiva Goswami, we talked about yesterday, he was the son of the younger brother of Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis, who were biologically, they were brothers. So there's a generation difference then in terms of age. So Raghunath Bhatta, interesting person. Actually both Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta, their backgrounds are fairly, there are distinct similarities. They were both sons of devotees. Raghunath Bhatta was the son of a devotee named Tapan Mishra, who, of course many of you wouldn't have heard of, but Tapan Mishra figures in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, his early pastimes, in the Navadvip area, Mayapur area, West Bengal. And so he had, Tapan Mishra, the father, had association with Lord Chaitanya. He was an associate of Lord Chaitanya's parents, Jagannath Mishra and Mother Sachi. And he was kind of a somewhat prominent member of the devotee community in Navadvip. Yes, so he knew Lord Chaitanya. He had Lord Chaitanya's association for many years in Navadvip while Lord Chaitanya was very young. But then he moved to a place called Varanasi, which I think many of you would have heard of, kind of famous place of pilgrimage on the Ganges. So he moved up there and he was living there. And his son was Raghunath Bhatta. The Mishra family is traditionally the family name of Brahmins. So he was also known as Raghunath Bhatta, which is another family name of Brahmins. So now, Lord Chaitanya, at one point, he was living in Puri, but then he decided he wanted to visit Vrndavan. He tried to go one time and It's a bit of a long story, didn't make it. He returned back to Puri without having actually gone to Vrndavan. But the second time he went to Vrndavan. And then on the way back, he stopped in Varanasi and he stayed in the house of Tapan Mishra. And at that time, Lord Chaitanya appeared 1486. Anyway, Raghunath Bhatta was a boy, a young boy, son of Tapan Mishra. And he was probably 4 or 5 years old, maybe 6 years old, something like that, really quite a young boy. And Lord Chaitanya stayed for some time with Tapan Mishra. And while he was there, Raghunath, just as a child, he was really attracted and just fascinated by Lord Chaitanya. And he would serve Lord Chaitanya while the Lord is staying in his father's house. He'd serve him, prasad him, he'd massage him, he'd wash his dishes, things like that. And he was so attracted by Lord Chaitanya, he decided that when I can, I'm going to leave home and follow him. Yes. So a few years later, now like I said, there's not a huge amount of detailed information about Raghunath Bhatta, but some years later, maybe 10 years later, or something along those lines, he visited Lord Chaitanya in Puri and stayed with him for 8 months. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the main biography of Lord Chaitanya, there's 3 biographies actually, but Chaitanya Charitamrita is the main one. It explains he stayed with Lord Chaitanya for 8 months and their relationship became extremely deep. And while he was staying there, he had 2 particular services. One was he would recite scripture. He would recite verses, particularly from Srimad Bhagavatam. And these verses from different scriptures, they could be recited according to different tunes, different melodies. And he was very expert in reciting Bhagavatam verses. So expert, he could recite any verse in at least 3 or 4 melodies, and it all just enhances the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's quite amazing actually. Srimad Bhagavatam is so deep in terms of the message, the messages. Sure, what's being explained there, it's really deep and philosophically profound, but it's expressed in poetry and not sort of like the modern day poetry where usually it doesn't rhyme. Usually it doesn't rhyme. They call it blank verse. It's just not so artistic or attractive as when everything rhymes and there's melody and so on. But Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita too, they're expressed like that. And Raghunath Bhatta, he would recite these verses to Lord Chaitanya. And the beauty of the recitation just enhanced the meaning. Just kind of added new dimensions to the actual meaning of the verses. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya really appreciated Raghunath Bhatta's recitations. The other thing he was expert at, incredibly expert, would you believe, devotees and friends, he was an expert cook. Yeah. He was just a brilliant cook, amazing cook. So he would regularly cook for Lord Chaitanya during the 8 months that he was staying there. And Lord Chaitanya greatly appreciated his cooking. And cooking is very important because the kitchen, cooking, is under Srimati Radharani. And if you cook for Krishna in Krishna's kitchen, you're being overseen and like that by Srimati Radharani. So to cook is a very special service actually, because you're under the supervision of Radharani. And if you're in good consciousness, she may give you some inspiration to make something extremely nice. It says that whatever he cooked would be nectarian, Prabhupada says actually. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was greatly pleased to accept the food that he cooked. And then Raghunath Bhatta would eat the remnants of the food left by Lord Chaitanya. So it's a bit of a long story, but he went a couple of times. He moved between Puri and Vrndavan. Vrndavan is like central UP or something like that. And Puri's right down on the east coast. It's probably, 1,500 or a couple of thousand kilometers. So he would move up and down between them. Mainly in Vrndavan, but Lord Chaitanya would send a message from time to time, come and join me. He'd go down and spend time with Lord Chaitanya. And just one interesting thing which is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita regarding Raghunath Bhatta. And there's a lesson to learn, important lesson to learn from it, is that one time when Raghunath Bhatta came down from Vrndavan to join Lord Chaitanya in Puri and stay there with him, another devotee came with him. His name was Ramachandra Vishwas. Ramachandra Vishwas was a devotee. He was a devotee, Ramdas Vishwas. Yes, he was a renunciate. And of course Raghunath Bhatta, he's Brahmin, so sort of higher position socially. So Ramdas Vishwas, he offered to assist Raghunath Bhatta with all of his clothes and his luggage on the way down from Vrndavan. And he did that fairly nicely, basically quite nicely. And then they arrived down in Jagannath Puri, a couple of thousand kilometers. I don't know if any of you walked 50 kilometers in a day. It's a long way. It's a long way, 50 kilometers. 100 kilometers, I don't think we'd make it. So this man, he carried the bags, luggage of Raghunath Bhatta all the way for however many weeks it must have been. And they got down there, and when they arrived, Lord Chaitanya greeted Raghunath Bhatta very warmly and arranged for Raghunath Bhatta to stay with him, or just very, very close indeed to where Lord Chaitanya lived. But he didn't say anything to Ramdas Vishwas. Interesting. Because, and Raghunath Bhatta was wondering why, because, he'd helped him out on the way. But the thing was that Ramdas Vishwas, he was what they call an impersonalist. He was an impersonalist. Even though he helped Raghunath Bhatta, which was nice, served him sincerely, the book says. And he was regularly chanting the name of Lord Ramachandra. But he had impersonal tendencies. And Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Lord, did not appreciate impersonalism or people who have impersonalist tendencies. Impersonalist tendencies or impersonalism means that one thinks, first of all, that God is not a person. God is not a person. And the second part of it is that we are not persons either. We appear to be persons, obviously, but actually we're not persons. We are all parts of one, sort of like one thing, which is Brahman, the spiritual essence. But somehow or other, we're thinking we're individuals, but actually we're all together as part of one. We're not individuals. How does that sound? Does that make sense? It does. I was hoping you'd say no. Because it doesn't really make sense. Good sense. I remember when I was young, which was quite a while ago, there was a song, one of the last songs of the Beatles, with a ridiculous name, I Am the Walrus. Anyway, in that song, John Lennon sings, I am you, and you are me, and we are all together. And I remember hearing that and thinking, wow, that's deep. Actually, it's not really deep, it's stupid. Because I am not you, I am me, and you are not me, you are you. And we're not together in, means in that sense, like we've become one entity. I mean, we have oneness, we're all humans, there's a certain type of oneness in that. But we're not actually like one entity. That's all part of impersonalism. It's all one. It's all one. Which is not an unusual concept in the minds of people who are practicing spiritual life of some sort, from like Indian or Hindu or Vedic type of background. This idea is not uncommon, that it's all one. And if you analyze it further, you see that it's all one. God is there, I'm there, you're there, but actually we're one. So therefore you can say that I'm God. So anyway, this Ramdas Vishwas was an impersonalist. Even though he chanted the names of Lord Ram, and he served the devotee, very advanced devotee, Raghunath Bhatta, but actually he had impersonal tendencies. And Lord Chaitanya did not appreciate that, so he basically ignored him. So there, like I said, there's a lesson there for us. I guess first lesson is, don't be an impersonalist. Okay? You won't be, will you? No, thank you. Don't be an impersonalist. Be a personalist. That Krishna, God is a person, I'm a person, everyone's a person, but we're all under the supreme person as his servants. That, in very simple terms, that's Krishna consciousness. So that happened. That's, one of the things from Chaitanya Charitamrita, at least, about Raghunath Bhatta, Goswami, which is, it's instructive for us. I mean, there is more. We don't have much time. Lord Chaitanya told him, Lord Chaitanya gave him specific instructions that when you're living, this is in Puri, that when you're living in Vrndavan, you must chant the Hare Krishna mantra 24 hours a day. Are you ready? Not just today, but every day, 24 hours. Yeah. And read Srimad Bhagavatam continuously. And then Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will very soon bestow his mercy upon you. And then when Lord Chaitanya said that, he embraced Raghunath Bhatta. And Raghunath became enlivened with ecstatic love for Krishna. Then Lord Chaitanya gave him a garland of tulsi leaves, which was 14 cubits long. 1 cubit is roughly half a meter, so 7 meters long. That's a pretty big garland. I assume it's from Lord Jagannath. And Raghunath Bhatta took that and kept it. And whenever he was chanting on his beads, or whenever he was chanting to himself, he would put that garland around his neck. Yeah. So there's one other thing about Raghunath Bhatta which is, it's important and it's very interesting. Listen to this. This is a couple of verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Raghunath Bhatta would neither hear nor speak about anything of the material world. He would simply discuss Krishna and worship the Lord day and night. And listen to this, everyone. Listen. He would not listen to blasphemy of a Vaishnava, nor would he listen to talk of a Vaishnava's misbehavior. He knew only that everyone was engaged in Krishna's service. He did not understand anything else. And Srila Prabhupada gives a purport. Let me just read the purport. Yes, so Srila Prabhupada says, Raghunath Bhatta never did anything harmful to a Vaishnava. In other words, he was never inattentive in the service of the Lord, nor did he ever violate the rules and regulations of a pure Vaishnava. It is the duty of a Vaishnava Acharya to prevent his disciples and followers from violating the principles of Vaishnava behavior. He should always advise them to strictly follow the regulative principles which will protect them from falling down. Now listen to this. Listen to this. Although a Vaishnava preacher may sometimes criticize others, we just criticized the impersonalists. So, yeah, Haribol. So, although a Vaishnava preacher may sometimes criticize others, Raghunath Bhatta avoided this. I mean, particularly with other devotees, or even specifically with other devotees. Yes, even if another Vaishnav, another devotee of Krishna, was actually at fault, Raghunath Bhatta would not criticize him. He saw only that everyone was engaged in Krishna's service. That is the position of a Mahabhagavat, means very great devotee. Actually, even if one is serving Maya, or the illusion of this material world, in a higher sense he is also a servant of Krishna, because Maya is the servant of Krishna. Anyone serving Maya serves Krishna indirectly. Yes, so this is a little bit about Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, really amazing devotee of the Lord. And let us go on and say a few words about Gopal Bhatta. Gopal Bhatta was the son of another great devotee, or if not exactly a great devotee, but of a devotee. Yes, he was the son of a devotee named Venkata Bhatta. And there's a whole long story actually about Venkata Bhatta and his meeting with Lord Chaitanya. We won't get into that. But Lord Chaitanya stayed with Venkata Bhatta in Sri Rangam. Sri Rangam is in Tamil Nadu, South India. Any Tamils here? Oh, a Tamil, of course. Any other Tamils? No? Anyway. Saukyama. Okay, all right. The answer is Saukyam. Okay. Right, so Gopal Bhatta was the son of Venkata Bhatta. Venkata Bhatta was one of the pujaris, means one of the devotees doing the worship on the altar in Sri Rangam. Sri Rangam happens to be the biggest temple in India, and it's still there today. It's big, and it's very beautiful. See, he was one of the pujaris. And would you believe, devotees, listen to this, his descendants are still pujaris in the Sri Rangam temple. Yes, they're still there. They're very nice. And they know very well that Lord Chaitanya stayed with one of their, ancestors 500 years ago. It's a very interesting situation. So anyway, Gopal Bhatta was the son. Lord Chaitanya stayed with his father and his family for 4 months during the rainy season one year, 3 or 4 months, Chaturmasya period, staying in their house. And Gopal, just like Raghunath Bhatta, same sort of age. So as Raghunath Bhatta would serve Lord Chaitanya and do so many things for him, serve him prasadam, wash his clothes and different things like that, even though he's a very young boy. So Gopal Bhatta would do the same. He would do the same. He served Lord Chaitanya, and he was just like Raghunath Bhatta. He was just really so attracted to Lord Chaitanya, so extremely appreciative of Lord Chaitanya, that he wanted to just leave home. He wanted to leave home and just join Lord Chaitanya. But Lord Chaitanya, it's a bit of a long story, but Lord Chaitanya told him not to. So he stayed at home until his parents passed away. Then he went and joined Lord Chaitanya, or joined the other Goswamis in Vrndavan some years later. There's a very interesting story about Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Gopal Bhatta was instructed by Lord Chaitanya to go to Nepal, where the Gandaki River is. That is the place where the Shalagram Shilas are found. You may have heard of Shalagram Shilas. I mean, externally they look like rocks, black rocks. Many of them at least have special markings. Not all of them, but many of them have special markings. And those rocks, Shilas, the term is Shila, means a rock. They're called Shalagram Shilas. They're accepted as being forms of the Supreme Lord, and they're worshipable. So devotees, even sometimes some of our devotees, go up to Nepal and into that where the Gandaki River is flowing, and they get some Shalagram Shilas. So Lord Chaitanya instructed Gopal Bhatta that you go up there and get some Shalagram Shilas. So he went up there, and again, it's a long way. It's really a long way, and right up into the Himalayas. So he got some Shalagram Shilas. He had 12 Shalagram Shilas, but he was feeling very doubtful. Should I take them? Because these are sacred. These are not just some rocks that you might take as souvenirs or something like that. These are sacred forms of the Supreme Lord. So I don't know if I should take them. So he put them back in the river. And at least they say, the Shilas, the rocks, jumped out and back into his bag. Hare Krishna. That's what they say. These 12 Shalagram Shilas jumped out because they're forms of the Supreme Lord. And any form of the Lord, like on the altar here, is the Panchatattva, 5 forms of the Lord. We understand they're not just statues, but they're persons. And if they want, normally they just stay there and just stay there. But if they want, they can move. And sometimes deities do. We won't go into, that too much, but there are many accounts of deities moving and walking and talking and like that. There are many stories like that. Maybe next time we can do a little seminar on that. I tell you, phew, it's pretty amazing. So they all jumped back in his bag, and he accepted, okay, I'm here by the order of the Lord, and, this has happened, so I accept it. And he took those Shilas and went back to Vrndavan. Back, long way back down to Vrndavan. And then he started worshipping them. Gopal Bhatta Goswami. But he saw, here I am, I'm worshipping these Shalagram Shilas. They're very sacred, directly forms of the Supreme Lord. But, on the surface externally, they just look like these little rocks. So they don't look like, the deities on the altar. They're personal forms. They don't look like that. And he knew that Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, like these like this, these other members of the 6 Goswamis, they had deities, personal deities, like who's on the altar here, personal forms of the Lord. Rupa Goswami was worshipping Radha Govinda. Sanatana Goswami was worshipping Radha Madan Mohan. Yeah, and they're, you could say, human type forms. And he has these rocks, which are very sacred. It's not like it's a lower standard, but at least externally, he felt it's not quite so stimulating and exciting like that. So he was praying. He was praying that what I want is a deity who will have the hips of Madan Mohan, the chest of Gopinath, and the face of Govinda. They're very beautiful deities. And if it was practical, I could show you, we could do a slideshow of them. But very beautiful personal forms of the Lord. So he would have liked, he thought, well, I've got these shalagram shilas, you know what to do, I'll just carry on. But in his heart he was thinking, I'd really like to have these personal form type deities. Yeah. So one night, it was the appearance day of Lord Nrsingadev, Nrsinga Chaturdasi. It's usually in May or thereabouts in our calendar. So he was thinking like this: I wish I could have a deity with a regular human-looking form. And some kind gentleman came by and gave him some very nice cloth, like valuable cloth, and said, here, you can take this and have it made up for your deity. And he thought, well, my deity, okay, my deity's a rock. You know, how can you make up something? No, you can make up some nice clothes for a deity, a personal form, but just a rock. But anyway, he accepted the cloth, and it was Lord Nrsingadev's appearance day. The evening, Lord Nrsingadev appeared in the evening, and so Gopal Bhatta prayed to the Lord that just as you, my Lord, appeared, oh, look at this, look who has appeared. Wow, it's a real appearance. This, devotees, fasten your seatbelts. This is Dayal Mora Prabhu, who is the, and I mean the, president of ISKCON London. Hare Krishna. Welcome. What a pleasant surprise. And with him is, just about to sit down there, he just sat down, was Radha Raman Prabhu, who is vice president. Sure. Wow, that's amazing, isn't it? It's a real assembly of sages here. Welcome. Hare Krishna. How nice to see you all. We're talking about Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So yeah, Lord Nrsingadev's appearance day, it's the evening. Lord Nrsingadev appeared in the evening, like sun, dusk, sort of, you know, in between sunset and the darkness of night. And so Raghunath Bhatta prayed that just like you, my Lord, you came out of the pillar which was made of stone. So why can't you come out of these stones, the Shalagram Shilas, in a personal form, as you did from the stone pillar? You came out in the personal form of Lord Nrsimhadev. And he took rest that night. The next day when he woke up, he saw the biggest of the Shilas had transformed into a deity, about sort of like this size, smallish, pretty small actually, but not, really, really small. Yeah, and very beautiful. And that's Radharaman. That's Radharaman. How many of you have seen Radharaman? How many of you have been there? I've been there. You haven't been there. Okay. And there, Radharani is there. Krishna's there. Radharani is there. How many of you, when you were there, how many of you saw Radharani? Oh, we have one. He has spiritual vision. Completely spiritual vision. Because otherwise he's invisible to the human eye. She's invisible to the human eye. So those deities of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, they're still being worshipped there. And I mean, there's a whole lot we could say, but we've run out of time. But that's sort of the main pastime Gopal Bhatta is famous for, the appearance of Radharaman. Yeah. And there's a place there, if you go there, there's the place where the deity appeared, manifested, is still there. Outside of the main temple, down just next to the Samadhi of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, where his transcendental body is interred. So there you go, devotees. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.